Wednesday. Third chance to knock out these questions. You had the live Zoom on Monday going over it. You had the Fan 5 review yesterday. And then obviously you have your third video, or technically your second video, but your third chance to do it today. I'm thinking these numbers have got to be, at this point, pretty good, 4s and 5s, even though it's only halfway through the week. Right now, I'd kind of expect you to be at a 3. Just with the familiarity we already have with some of these questions, honestly, I do think they should be a little bit higher than a 3. For the people who are at home, which is you, if you're watching this, guys, I can't help you if you don't ask. So if I ever see a score that's kind of surprising, or maybe somebody who goes backwards from a 5 to like a 2 or something, I always try to reach out through email and see if you have any questions, if there's anything I can do to help. But guys, if there's one question that you're having a hard time with, or something that you're just not getting, even after watching the videos, y'all know you can reach out to me. We can Zoom, we can work it out together. I'm here, it's my job. So keep that in mind. Don't think that you have to keep struggling. If you need some help, let me know, and I'm happy to do it. All right, so we're gonna get right into it. Looking at number 1, we've got another one of our multiplicative comparison problems. You're actually gonna have a multiplicative comparison quiz today on all the different types of questions that we've seen so far. But we'll do a little bit of review before that. But this says, Danielle read some books. Tammy read 11 times as many books as Danielle. Together, they read 60 books. How many books did Tammy read? So I'm going to try to start doing something that I've been saying I'm going to do. I'm going to try and actually do it today. Sorry, I didn't mean to go there. All right, so I see 11 times as many, meaning somebody's going to get 11 boxes. But I know I'm doing multiplicative comparisons because I'm comparing the amount of books that Danielle read and Tammy read. So here's Danielle. Here's Tammy. And before I draw my boxes, I'm going to put my star first. I'm going to put a star beside the name that actually matters. For this question, it wants to know how many books did Tammy read. So I'm not going to make that reading mistake that I've been making the past couple days. I'm going to make sure I'm looking in the right spot. Now I can give the 11 boxes to Tammy because she read 11 times as many. Again, your boxes are supposed to be even. I did a terrible job of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That tiny little sliver is my 11th box, which means Danielle will automatically get 1. Now that other piece of information that he gave me, those 60 books, those represent both ladies. So I know all of those boxes have to be equal to 60, meaning I'm going to take those 60 books and I'm going to split them up between all 12 boxes. If you know your facts, you know 60 divided by 12 is going to give you 5. And that means, can I make this thing a little thicker? Oh, here we go. 5 in this box, and then 5 in all of Tammy's. Let's see if I can fit 5 in these 11 boxes. I kind of crushed that. That was pretty good. So to figure out what Tammy read, because she's got the star, I could skip count by 5s. I could do 11 times 5. Either way you do it, you should have gotten 55 books. If you chose A, we can't use the excuse anymore of, oh, at least I did good math, guys. We got to get that's out the window after seeing it 2 or 3 times. You've got to make sure you're reading the question. That one would have been D. Hopefully, because I filmed these far in advance, so I don't have the numbers. Hopefully, that's a pretty strong majority of the class getting that one correct. All right, number 2. A mile has 5,280 feet. It wants to know what is 5,280 rounded to the nearest 1,000. So a little bit different today because this is honestly already rounded down to the nearest 10. But anytime I'm rounding, I'm going to use my rounding coaster. So I'm going to write my number, 5,280. Go ahead and put my coaster around it. I'll go ahead and label my sides. Remember, we go 1 through 4 on the left side, 5 through 9 on the right side. And then I got to split that number. Wherever I'm rounding to, which in this case is the nearest 1,000, I'm going to underline that place value and section it off. okay? Kind of splitting that number into two separate numbers. So if I'm looking at what I sectioned off, if I look right here, I see the number 5. That's the number that I'm going to put right here. And on the other side of the coaster, you just put the following number. After 5 comes 6, so I'd put 6. All right. Now that line that I drew up is still important because now I'm going to look at that number directly next to the line, which in this case is a 2, and I'm going to circle that 2 on my rounding coaster. All right. Once I've circled that 2, I got to look and see, is it on the 5 side or the 6 side of my rounding coaster? And very clearly it is on the 5 side. So I would write my 5. But I'm not finished yet because now I got to look again to the right side of that line. And I've got 1, 2, 3 numbers next to the line, which means I have to add 3 zeros. Boom, boom, boom. If I rounded 5,280 to the nearest 1,000, that one would be 5,000. So if you didn't use the rounding coaster, no big deal. If you're getting the right answer, that's awesome. The only time that rounding coaster will be required is when we do those rounding competitions. But those are quite a ways down the road, so we'll get back to that eventually. So that one should have been C. Looking at number 3, I think honestly, once you see this one like once or twice, if you know your facts, you got it. Like it's not a very difficult problem solving process unless you don't know your facts. It says there are 1,294 dogs walking in New York City. If each dog, each being your keyword there, has 4 paws, how many paws do they have total? Again, just because you see total doesn't mean you're automatically going to add. Technically, repeated addition is the same thing as multiplication. Now, I go ahead and eliminate the fact that I could possibly be dividing here, because again, look at your answer choices. They're all getting bigger. You can't divide and get a bigger number. So when I see each, I just know that I'm going to be multiplying here. So I've got 1,294 times 4. And then I'm just going to go place value by place value, multiply by the ones, the tens, the hundreds, thousands, all the way down. So starting in the ones place, 4 times 4, 16. 6 days, 1 goes, circle it so I don't forget. All right, then I'm going to go 4 times 9, which I know is 36, plus 1 more gives me 37. 7 stays, 3 goes, and I'm going to circle it again. 4 times 2 gives me 8. I'm here. Plus 3 more gives me 11. 1 stays, 1 goes, circle that. And then 4 times 1 just gives me that 4, plus 1 more gets me 5, which would give me the answer of C, 5,176. If you know your facts, you're probably getting through that one pretty quickly. If you don't, it's not impossible. You could still, if you don't know what 4 times 4 is, list your multiples, figure it out. If you're not comfortable with the multiplication, you could have added that number to itself 4 times, repeated addition. So there are ways. Really, that question is kind of set up to where you can't have an excuse to get it right. There's plenty of ways to how you could figure out that answer. Okay, number 4, another one of those multiplicative comparison questions. It says Brandon won King of Multiplication 6 times. Caroline won 4 times as many times as Brandon. That's interestingly worded. How many times have they won combined? So times as many. Multiplicative comparisons. I'm comparing Brandon's wins to Caroline's wins. Now you got to be careful with this picture because remember, you get your picture from times as many. Now it says 6 times, but it also says 4 times as many. 6 times doesn't mean that you're going to draw 6 boxes somewhere. So you got to read carefully. Before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and put a star somewhere. It's asking how many times have they won combined, meaning both of their numbers are important. So I'll put a star beside both of them. And I know my picture is going to be looking like Caroline getting 4 boxes because Caroline won 4 times as many, and Brandon automatically gets 1. Now Brandon's 6 wins have to go in his picture because that only represents Brandon. So I know his picture has to be equal to 6, and if you do 6 divided by 1, I know that every box is going to have 6, including Caroline's. 6, 6, 6, 6. Now it is important to get Caroline's total, but it's not going to be your answer. If you did 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 or 6 times 4, you would get 24, which is an answer choice that I'm sure people are going to pick. But if I want to know how many they won combined, I got to take that 24, take that 6, add them together, and I would have gotten 30. So very similar to 1. If you're getting 24, it's almost to a point where we don't care if you're doing good math or not, because it doesn't matter. You've got to read that question super carefully. All right, last one, number 5. Man, all of these questions you had to really read. It says there are 16 pizzas at the pizza party. 3/4 of the pizzas are pepperoni and the rest of them are cheese. How many pizzas are pepperoni? I am finding the fraction of a whole number. I'm drawing the same picture every time. Here are my 16 pizzas. And if I'm finding a fraction, I got to look at that denominator, which is fourths. So I am going to split my 16 pizzas into fourths. I am essentially saying that I just took 16 pizzas and split them into 4 different sections. If you know your facts, 16 divided by 4 would give you 4, which is not the answer. It depends what the question's asking, but that 4 represents how many pizzas are in each of those sections. And now you just got to kind of label what your numbers are. It says 3/4 of them are pepperoni. Pepperoni, pepperoni, pepperoni. The rest are cheese. Cheese. So there's my pepperoni. There's my cheese. The question says how many pizzas are pepperoni. That means I don't care about this cheese pizza or cheese pizzas. And I can go 4 plus 4 plus 4. I could do 4 times 3. Either way, I would get 12. So we've seen that picture a lot. If you're not drawing it, I strongly recommend doing it. If you're at home taking notes, you can use your notes on Fan 5, guys. That's why I give you the chance to do that. But anytime I'm finding the fraction of a whole number, it's that picture every single time. So I'm anxious to see the scores for today, which would be Wednesday. 4s and 5s would be awesome, because I think I said it in yesterday's video that we've got a chance with these 5 specific questions to have the best numbers we've had all year, because they're not brand new questions. So fingers crossed that we live up to those expectations, because they are pretty high, but I think it's fair to have high expectations for these questions. All right, so as you continue on today, like I said, you're going to have a multiplicative comparisons quiz, but I got a little video going over some review questions before you do that. So please make sure you're watching that and make sure you're using the box method. All right, later.